Hello everybody, this is Amayirot Akago, and welcome back to Deathgate. Last time we embarked on our quest to recover the 5 pieces of the World Seal and reform the world. So, our first destination was the world of air, Arianis, where we found the local dwarven population being oppressed by so-called gods. But we managed to slip on board the ship of the gods. So, I suppose we should have a look around and see what they're up to. Also, I should note, you've probably noticed the wait icon here. Like most Legend Entertainment games, this game is turn-based. So, since we distracted the guard previously, he'll be back in a couple of turns, and if we're still on board the ship by then, obviously we'll get caught, and we'll probably suffer some icky fate or another, so we should probably hurry while we're in here. But basically, everything we do, time will pass, and we only have a limited number of turns to do what we need to and then get off. Anyway, this ship is quite a bit larger than your one-man craft. Stairs lead up to private quarters and down into the ship's hold. Let's see, we can go up or we can go down. Let's go up first. This chamber quarters the ship's wizard. It is tiny, which emphasizes how messy it is. Well now, what do we have here? The ship's wizard lies sprawled on a cot, snoring away. With every exhalation, you smell the strong odor of wine. Well, he's not a god at all. In fact, he looks more like an elf to me. And what's this? 3 figurines. All of them are miniature elves, and they all glow brightly. That must be what Limpek was talking about previously, when he snuck on board before. And we need to find some way to undo the spell cast upon these figurines to make the gods stop glowing. But I'm not sure if we have the know-how to do that as of yet. Although, we could probably cast Identify on these. Yeah, here we go. The figurines have been subjected to a glow spell. The statuettes represent the elves stationed inside the dwarves' tunnels. So not only does the spell keep the statuettes glowing, it keeps the elves glowing as well. Just as I told you. Let's see, is there anything in here we might be able to pick up? Some wizard stuff. A few papers and other bizarre objects, none of which has any use. What about the wine jug? Yoink! Suppose we could get sloshed, but that wouldn't be very helpful. Yeah, that's all we can do in here for now. Let's see what's down here. Slaves in this room power and guide the ship with the help of magic provided by the ship's wizard. Oh dear. These slaves are the first you've ever seen of the mensch race called human, and you are a little taken aback by the similarity they have with your own people. Aside from their mongrel hair colors and their lack of heart runes, humans appear almost identical to patrons. You might even be able to pass yourself off as one of their kind. Yes, yes. So yeah, the elves are complete bastards, apparently. Fooling the poor dwarves and taking human slaves. Let's see what we can do for these poor devils.
Who are you? Are you a slave? I don't recognize you and you aren't chained. I certainly hope you aren't an elf sympathizer.
I'm not a sympathizer. Then again, I'd say the same thing if I was.
Of course, that's true. I'll simply have to believe you. I don't have much choice. I've been here too long and hope is wearing thin. My name is Andrews. I'm King Stephen's cousin, a duke.
Why are you here?
It's a long story. I was leading my people against the elven forces on one of the smaller Volcarian isles. We were greatly overmatched, and they defeated us easily. They killed most of my army and took the rest as slaves, including myself. Luckily, they didn't recognize me as the king's cousin. I would be more valuable as a hostage for ransom than as a slave.
Why haven't you been rescued before now?
When elves capture humans, they divide them into small groups aboard their fleet of flying ships. That way, rebellions are manageable and usually non-existent. Aboard these ships, slaves are impossible to track. Even if there was a plan to rescue us, they'd never be able to single out this particular frigate.
If King Stephen knew you were here, could he rescue you?
It's possible, I suppose. If you can get to my cousin and tell him that I'm being held prisoner here on Drevlin, he would do everything in his power to rescue me. You'll need something to convince him, though. Go to Eulandia, the 4th island. Give this to the king. The ring should be enough to convince him to believe you.
Thank you.
Who are these other people?
Members of my army. Now, like myself, slaves to the elves. Although the ship is powered mostly by magic, it requires manpower to steer it. Following the elves' commands, we manipulate the ropes you see here, which change the attitude of the wings. That's what we do. That's all we do.
Like I said, elves are bastards.
What's the story behind these gods?
Drevlin is important because the Kixie Windsy, as these dwarves call it, pumps out water as a byproduct to whatever else it does. Water is scarce throughout the realms. In order to control this water source, the elves have convinced these gullible dwarves that they are gods.
Yeah, we kind of figured that out already.
Their claim is based on a simple glow spell dreamed up by the ship's wizard. The crew is fairly small, only about 4 or 5 elves, but they are spread thin throughout the caverns. In order to maintain the spell, the wizard has created miniature statues that he uses as substitutes. He keeps them all aboard the ship in one place. As long as the glow spell lasts on the statues, no matter where the elves are, they continue to glow, and the dwarves continue to believe that the elves are gods.
That's all. Thanks for the information.
As you wish. But I can only hope that you will return to aid us.
New location. Whew, thankfully that conversation didn't last very long. So, we got the guy's ring. A green gem is mounted in engraved gold. The royal seal surrounds the stone. But like I said, we'd better get ourselves moving before the guard comes back. Yeah. Same as ever, they're still trying to stop the alarm. Okay. That's pretty much all we can do around these parts for now, so we should get back to our ship and get going to meet this King Stephen. Yeah, whoops. I can't use the steering stone just yet because that's only used to travel between the realms. If I actually want to travel between the islands, I need to use the steering wheel. That's actually what got me hung up first time I played this. I didn't realize I had to use the steering wheel to travel to different locations within the same realm. Alright, we're here. Off to the north, you see a splendid castle, although it is built more like a fortress. 2 sentries guard this gate to the castle. A path winds around the castle wall. Let's see if they're kind enough to let me in.
Why are you sneaking around on royal grounds, knave? What's your business here?
I'm not sneaking. And who are you calling a knave, blackguard?
That's a form of the word guard I'm not fond of. Who are you calling a blackguard, varlet?
Who are you calling a varlet, ruffian?
Who are you calling a ruffian, scoundrel?
Who are you calling a scoundrel, rogue?
Who are you calling a rogue, rapscallion?
Haplo has quite the impressive vocabulary.
Who are you calling a rapscallion, thug?
Who are you calling a thug, miscreant?
Who are you calling a miscreant, cad?
Who are you calling a cad, villain?
Who are you calling a villain, scamp?
Who are you calling a scamp, scapegrace?
Who are you calling a scapegrace, cur?
Cur? You're resorting to animal references? Well, I'm all out of insults anyway. What the heck do you want?
I'm here to see the king. Would you tell him I'm here?
You and everyone else in the kingdom. Now, if I start making special trips to tell the king you're here, I'll have to do it for everyone else. If you had real business with the king, you'd have an appointment. Now just turn around and go back the way you came.
You don't understand. The king isn't expecting me, but I've got to see him. His cousin is in danger.
Is he in danger of running out of money? He must be pretty desperate if he's enlisting help from the likes of you. Do you have any proof? A signed note from the Duke? Anything?
Let me think about it.
Sure, you do that. If you pull anything out of the air that supports your story, you be sure and hand it over. Until then, you'd better be on your way.
Well, okay. Here, the ring. You hand the Duke's ring to the nearest guard. He examines it carefully, then eyes you with suspicion. Somewhat forcefully, he offers to escort you inside. It doesn't seem to you that you have much choice. Soon you enter the royal throne room. You stand in front of King Stephen himself. Once a renowned warrior, he is older now, but remains a powerful and formidable man. He shuns royal robes in favor of battle armor, as if he's ready to lead his troops to war at any second. He sits comfortably on the throne and looks at you with a light smile. Beside him hovers a brown-robed wizard. He casually introduces himself as Trian, the royal magician, but at the same time he watches you warily.
What do we have here? A brigand who's stolen my cousin's signet ring? Someone who has kidnapped the Duke? What do you want from me, ransom? I must warn you, I don't deal with traitors to the crown. It's hard to talk business with someone who's missing a head. Now that we've dispensed with the preliminaries, tell me why you're here.
Well, he's certainly not one to mince words. Just picked up this ring outside. Yeah, we probably don't want to make this guy angry.
Your cousin gave it to me to substantiate my story. If you'll allow me a couple words between threats, I'll relate the facts.
Indulge yourself, my friend. I'm all ears.
I was wondering how you kept that crown from slipping over your eyes. Oh, Haplo, you dry-witted bastard. Oh, I'm almost tempted to try this response now and see what happens. Fuck it, let's have some fun.
I was wondering how you kept that crown from slipping over your eyes.
A few more remarks like that, and I'll see what I can do about removing a few of your body parts.
I don't talk well when I'm under pressure.
I think you'd find yourself under a bit more pressure when you're on the rack. Neither of us want to wait that long, though. Save us both the effort and just tell your story, won't you?
Okay.
Well, it's like this.
You explain Duke Andrews is rotting in the slave galley on Drevlin. You're quick to add that you can't guarantee how long the ship will remain there. You suggest that the king send his forces to rescue the Duke immediately.
I appreciate the information, but there's little I can do. Drevlin is the elves' main source of water. They guard it jealously. My armies wouldn't make it anywhere near the ship that Andrews is trapped aboard. There is another way. If my cousin is out of the elves' clutches, we will be able to free him. Somehow you have a way to get in and out of Drevlin undetected. Return there, get that slave ship to lift off, to go back to the Tribus Empire. I don't know how, but you must do it. Their ships traditionally follow a route through space that I control. We will set an ambush for it. As soon as we see the frigate, we'll box it in. Those ships are usually manned by skeleton crews. We shouldn't have any trouble wresting control. After the ship is ours, we'll bring it here and free all of the slaves on board, including my cousin. You are now my agent. If you are able to pull this off, I'll make it worth your while. I'll inform my men that you represent my authority, just so you won't run into any trouble. We are at war, you know, and my men are very suspicious of potential spies. Good luck, my friend. I hope to see you back here soon.
Ah, that went well, all things considered. The guards, a little less roughly this time, escort you out of castle, and back to the main gates. So, we got our work cut out for us. We gotta rescue the guy from the elves, and in order to do that, we'll have to get them to take off, which I assume ties in with convincing the dwarves that they are not gods by removing their glow. Let's look around a little bit. A window in the castle wall is covered by a warped wooden shutter. Bushes and trees have overgrown the path. Yoink! Can't pass up a shear, even if it is just half of one. Half a set of old rusty garden shears. The connecting bolt sticks out of the center. What do we have here? Through a crack between the shutter and the wall, you spy a stout bar on the other side. It holds the shutter closed. Ah, but we just have the thing to stick into the crack and lift the bar. You slide the garden shear into the crack made by the warped shutter just under the bar on the other side. With a quick flick of your wrist, you lift the bar out of its brace and send it clattering to the floor. Ta-da! The shutter creaks protest as you swing it open on its worn and rusty hinges. As you start to swing open the shutter, you see someone enter the room beyond. You close the shutter to its original position to watch the approaching figure through the crack. When he gets further into the room, you recognize him as Trians, King Stephen's royal wizard. Trian walks up to a tapestry hung on the wall and, with a fluid, expert motion, weaves a rune construct in the air. The spell sinks into the tapestry and somehow changes the image. It looks perhaps a bit more real than it did before. Trian then walks right into the picture and becomes part of it. He speaks with another figure inside, an elf prisoner in a dungeon, and then departs. Both the tapestry and the room. Immediately, the tapestry fades back to a dull imitation of reality, no longer a doorway into another world. I have learned a spell! Awesome. Can we go in? You slip through the half-open shutter into the chamber beyond. This living chamber is reminiscent of a library. Obviously, it belongs to someone of learning. Well, we just saw it belonged to Trian, so not sure why you would make that observation. Hey, a candle holder! Just the thing we need for Limbeck. Bunch of books, not sure if they're of any use. You scan through the collection of books, but find only one that interests you, a tome entitled Tower of the Brotherhood. Oh good. I forgot, in addition to massive amounts of exposition, we'll also be doing plenty of reading. But for our collective sanity, I'll just skim through this. Okay, so according to the book, there's this guild of assassins called the Brotherhood. They have a tower full of treasure, and apparently it involves a portal into a place called the Otherwhere, which is some pocket, well, alternate dimension which contains all possibilities that could ever exist, including all this stuff that magic does, apparently. That's the short version of it. But the upshot of this is you can use the Create Reality Pocket spell that we just learned to open a doorway into the Otherwhere, thus making things like this picture on the wall real. You weave the spell in the air. Suddenly the tapestry becomes a window into a scene instead of just a picture of it. It appears as if you could walk right into it. And naturally, we can. You step through the tapestry into a dank dungeon cell. This is the archetype of a dungeon cell, Spartan and devoid of all unnecessary furnishings. Oh goody, another elf. The prisoner is definitely an elf. He's tall, thin, fair, and has the telltale pointed ears. His lips are thin and dry, and he licks them often, mumbling about the inhospitality of humans. He wears traveling clothes, but they can't hide the magical aura you sense. This elf is a wizard. Perhaps he could teach you something if he didn't hate you so much. Let's see if he'll be cooperative.
Why would you think that I want to talk to another dirty, stinking human? Why don't you just leave me alone before you start making me angry?
I'm not human, but he doesn't need to know that.
You don't look like you're in any position to make demands.
I may not be able to leave, but I certainly don't have to waste my time talking with you.
Why are you here?
I was unlucky enough to let myself be captured by Trian. I suppose it's better than if the king caught me. He would have executed me for sure. Trian's keeping me alive to get whatever information he can. So far, I've told him nothing, and that's just what you're going to get as well.
Oh, really? We have ways of making you talk.
Waste time. What else are you going to do?
Sit here and not talk to you.
Yes you are.
Why would you think that?
You're going to tell me something. I don't know what you're going to tell me, but you're going to tell me something. I didn't come in here just so you could tell me you don't want to talk to me.
You don't like humans?
You are barbarians. Uncouth, unclean. Fit only to be slaves or dead. Your only hope for civilization is to be conquered by the elven nation.
Like I said, I'm not human. Don't lump me in with them.
So, do you like these accommodations?
What do you think? I'm stuck in an archetypical dungeon cell. The light in the wall never shuts off. I haven't had anything to eat or drink for hours. Ah, what I wouldn't give for some wine right now.
All right, I'll leave you alone.
Good. Bugger off.
Well, if you're nice to me, I might just give you this wine jug here. Or I could drink it myself. You take a small sip from the jug. The taste is sour and the liquid burns as it slides down your throat. You don't understand how anyone can enjoy this stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much how I react to most types of alcohol.
Ah, it's gooseberry wine.
The wizard warily accepts the wine jug from you. He sniffs it and takes a tentative sip. He tilts the jug back and takes a few hearty slugs. Afterward, when he has placed it on the bench, he regards you with a much friendlier expression. In vino veritas, as they say.
I guess you're not so bad for a human. It wouldn't hurt to pass a little time talking.
So, you're a wizard, huh?
Of course I am. I'm only of the 4th house, but it makes me formidable nonetheless. If I hadn't been distracted by that serving wench, Treen would never have gotten the drop on me.
Guy has a weakness for the ladies, eh?
Can you teach me any spells?
Interested in magic, eh? I don't reveal my secrets to just anyone, you understand, especially not to humans.
He gives you an appraising look as if hatching a devious idea. You decide to change subjects.
If you hate this dungeon so much, can't you use your magic to change it?
Well, if I could get out of these bars, I'd probably douse that glow lamp on the wall. It's impossible to get any sleep with the lamp always shining in my eyes. In order to remove the glow spell that's on it, I'd have to create a Shroud of Darkness and place it over the lamp, and it's out of reach.
He sighs and leans back on the bench.
How exactly does that Shroud of Darkness spell go?
Come here, I'll show you.
He approaches the bars and stands there. Hesitantly, you too approach the bars.
Now first you need a black cloth. The color is important because black absorbs all light. When you place the prepared cloth over the glowing object, the cloth is going to do just that, absorb the light, albeit to an even greater extent. Then you cast the Shroud of Darkness spell upon it, like so.
His hands cut gracefully through the air, tracing a glowing magic rune structure. You watch entranced as the spell takes shape. The wizard completes the structure. It hangs in the air and you study it intently. Focused on memorizing the spell, you fail to observe the wizard's hand slipping into motion again. Suddenly his hand grabs yours and he jerks you out of your trance. Another spell hangs in the air. Benignly, Wow. Tongue twister. The first spell fades away, but the new spell begins to take effect. You're staring at the new rune construct in confusion, your hand locked in its iron grip, when you notice a tingling sensation spread through your body. A thunderclap later, and you notice that you are looking at the floating spell from the other side. Immediately, the wizard releases your hand, and through the bars, you see him race out of the room laughing. The spell fades, and you realize that the wizard used his magic to swap positions with you. You are now the prisoner in the cell, and he is free. You drop heavily to the bench. After hours of waiting, Trien walks into the cell. Seeing you sitting on the bench stops him in his tracks. You clear your throat and explain what has transpired. He listens intently and after a moment of thought decides to free you. Trien escorts you into his personal chamber. He explains that he was keeping the wizard's secret from the king, so he cannot report the escape. He tells you to forget you ever saw him and asks you to leave the same way you entered. Trien walks out the door and locks it behind him. Seems we, kind of messed up things for him. Sorry about that. But hey, we did learn a couple new spells that are sure to come in handy. And that Shroud of Darkness is probably going to come into play in getting rid of that glow spell. In fact, I think I already know exactly how we're going to approach this situation. Yeah, puzzles in this game aren't exceptionally difficult as long as you're paying attention to what everybody tells you. But they're fun to figure out nonetheless. So we have a big old ink jug here and a white t-shirt. You shove the shirt into the ink jug where it quickly soaks up quite a bit of black ink. But by the time you've pulled it out, the shirt is completely dry, albeit very black. So, we have a white cloth and a cast Shroud of Darkness spell. First of all, we'll have to trigger the alarm again with the heat spell. Alarm warms up a bit, but quickly settles back down to room temperature. Oh, I need to cast it on the sensor, not the alarm. Ta-da! Have fun with that. Okay. Put the black shirt on the figurines. You drape the black shirt over the glowing figures, but find that the light is bright enough to shine through the shirt despite its color. You reclaim the shirt. So, do I have to cast the Shroud of Darkness spell on it first instead? As you weave the spell around the shirt, the light around you dims as if the shirt was drawing it in. When the spell has been completed, you can only make out the vague shape of the shirt, but none of its features. It looks like a hole in the air. Bingo. You drape the black shirt over the glowing figurines. The magic of the shroud draws the light from the statuettes into itself until they remain dull and gray. Since it is the magic on the figurines that maintains the glow effect on the gods, the instant the magic disappears, so does the elves' spell. They quickly realize their situation and bolt for the ship. The dwarves, seeing their gods without their glow, quickly form a lynch mob. They chase the hapless elves out of the caves, bellowing rather imaginative and graphic threats of violence. The noise causes the sleeping wizard to stir. To keep from being discovered, you dive out of his quarters onto the ship's deck. It's a shame these cutscenes in between are such low resolution compared to the rest of the game, and I suppose there's not a whole lot that could be done about it. Still, the game looks pretty good overall. Sounds good too.
Hide in the storeroom. They'll kill you if they find you here.
Really like the music in this game. From the deck, you hear the scuffling of the elves as they board the ship. The Duke whispers to you. He points out a hidden door in the back of the galley off to the west. You hear some scuffling and shouted orders from the galley. Soon the ship breaks away from its moorings and lifts off. A deep voice booms from somewhere near the door that the ship is entering human-controlled space. All lights must be doused and all noise ceased. If the humans discover the ship's exact position, it could be taken. Well, they don't want to be discovered, eh? Let's see what we can do about that to mess their plans up. The shear's too rusty and thin to withstand such an activity. If you try to snap open the lock with the shear, chances are it won't be the lock that breaks. Darn. Yeah, as I was saying, the music in this game is pretty damn good. It's composed by Eric Heberling. Heberling? However you pronounce it, who also did the music for the first Elder Scrolls game. Hence why some of the music actually sounds suspiciously similar, as I've noticed. Anyway. What we need is inside the strongbox, as I recall, so we're gonna have to figure out a way to open it. Or this box right here? Oh, yeah, there we go. You rip open one of the larger boxes. Inside you find a strange device with 3 metal prongs which crackle with electricity. A switch has been wired to its base. You shove the flimsy remains of the box to the side. It's a zinger. So we didn't need to take one from the pole after all. Just got one for free right here. You must be holding the zinger in order to discharge it. Okay, take it. Carefully, you pick up the electric zinger. It tingles a bit, but doesn't deliver the shock you expected. You pull the switch attached to the electric zinger. As soon as the connection is made, the whole contraption flies out of your hand, bouncing off the walls and throwing sparks everywhere. Evidently, the light and sound pouring through the portholes was enough to attract the attention of King Stephen's forces. They surround the ship in mid-flight, board her, and take the captured vessel back to the castle.
Congratulations. You actually succeeded. I didn't expect it, but I am pleased. Andrews and his men are safe. My thanks, friend.
That was nothing. Just using what I had on hand. Though it was kind of anticlimactic that it just delivered the solution to me right into my hands at the time when I needed it.
Not only did you get your cousin back safely, but now you have an elven ship. I think you made out pretty well.
Very true. That elven ship will certainly come in handy, especially to infiltrate elven-controlled lands. You've proven your worth.
It was nothing.
My pleasure, Your Highness. I did put my life on the line, but it was worth it to serve you.
I certainly hope you aren't being sarcastic. My men gladly lay down their lives for me. That privilege is reward enough for them. I was going to offer something else, but that can be arranged.
Wasn't there something about making it worth my while?
You're correct. I'm not one to forget my promises when it suits me. What do you want?
This guy does not mess around. A daughter? Royal Treasury holds? Information. I don't want anything we're gonna be nasty about. I probably shouldn't push my luck around him.
Perhaps you could just supply some information.
Certainly. Tell me what you'd like to know.
You relate your experiences on Drevlin and explain that you're looking for an artifact that the Kixie Winsey may have buried somewhere. If that's true, only the Kixie Winsey can dig it back up.
I'm not sure how I can help you there. Even my learned wizard knows precious little about the Kixie Winsey. There is something I might be able to offer, though. The Kixie Winsey is an ancient Sartan artifact. Only the Sartan knew exactly what it did and how to control it.
Ah, so that's who those mangers were.
Since they disappeared ages ago, all that remains are the books and documents they left behind, but they are very scarce. In fact, the only place you can find them is in the Tower of the Brotherhood.
Oh boy. That's what that book was talking about, and it's not easy to get in from what that was saying.
Why is the Brotherhood the only place you can find these documents? Doesn't anyone else have a collection?
A long time ago, private researchers kept their own collections. They soon experienced very fatal accidents and their collections were appropriated by the Brotherhood. Pretty soon, whenever Sartan artifacts were discovered, they were delivered directly to the tower. Nowadays, the Brotherhood usually employs the researchers outright.
What's the Brotherhood?
The Brotherhood is a guild of assassins. They pride themselves on the completeness of their library. They've gathered information from every corner of Arianis. This includes all of the Sartan artifacts they could find. No other collection exists anywhere. If documents exist that discuss the function of the Kixie Winsey, they're in their tower.
Where is the tower located?
That's a problem. The tower is located in Skirvash, a smuggler's haven that lies on the border of elven and human lands. No nation governs that city. It's completely lawless. The Brotherhood has an iron grip on the place. Neither we nor the elves have been able to get a toehold.
Sounds like fun.
Skirvash is a haven for criminals and cutthroats. It wouldn't be a problem, once there, to go about your business unnoticed. People go there for the anonymity. The problem is getting you there in the first place. Currently, the elves control space around that area. I can't sneak anyone in or out. Any ship with the markings of the Royal Fleet is attacked before it even gets near the city.
I have a ship.
What about that elven ship I just delivered to you? Couldn't that sneak me into Skirvash?
Yes, that's true. We've never had our hands on an elven ship before. They certainly wouldn't be expecting it, especially so soon after its capture. They'd have no reason to stop it from reaching Skirvash.
I suppose that would probably be the better alternative.
Very well. It looks like my only alternative. Let's get going.
Very well. I will staff the elven ship with my own soldiers. They will fly the ship to Skirvash and wait there while you search for your documents. When you have completed your business, they will escort you back to Drevlin. I will assume that this clears me of my debt to you. I wish you luck, friend.
Well, thank you very much, yet again. You leave the king's castle, reboard the elven frigate, and discover that it's already manned by soldiers from the royal army. A no-nonsense sergeant greets you and signals the others to lift off. Within a few hours, you leave behind all sign of human habitation on any of the floating land masses. The only ships you see are of elven design. They let you pass unmolested, mistaking your ship for a member of their fleet. Soon the sergeant points out a dark city on one of the floating islands. The ship glides towards it, but lands a couple of miles away.
We don't want to answer any questions at the regular port, such as why King Stephen's men are flying an elven frigate. Better you get a little exercise and walk into town.
Okay.
Come back when you've finished your business, and make it quick. Just being around elven space makes me nervous, but waiting so close to the Brotherhood is downright terrifying.
Alright, here we are. This was the slave galley. It is empty now, but filled with King Stephen's men when the ship is in motion. all this stuff is still in here, along with the strongbox. I reckon whatever's inside is probably important, but we'll have to look around a bit to see if we can find a way to open it. The whole group of soldiers is gathered in the small quarters to play cards. You can't even fit through the door. Well, guess I better get going then. The Tower of the Brotherhood looms over a plaza flanked by a tavern and an alley. A child plays quietly to one side. That's an interesting little toy he's got there. The wooden doll is vaguely human-shaped. It wanders around on its own little legs. You sense that it might be magically animated. The boy watches its wooden doll walking in circles around the plaza. After wandering around, it happily strolls into the dark alley. The boy steps up towards it, but stops, appearing terrified. He looks up at you with pleading eyes.
Oh, sir, would you please get my doll back? I couldn't possibly go in there. It's far too dark and scary.
Of course I'll help you, lad. Wait here.
This couldn't possibly be a trap of any sort. The waif smiles and gives you a look of such gratitude that you feel you've made the right decision. With an intake of breath to bolster your courage, you turn towards the dark alley. There's the doll. You wander into the dark alley, chasing after the scuttling toy. Its tiny legs don't move particularly fast, so catching it isn't a problem. When you pick it up, you catch a glimpse of rune markings carved into the wood, but before you get a chance to examine them further, a heavy rope net falls from out of the shadows. The child who not a moment ago was crying over his lost toy jumps on top of you and beats you relentlessly with an iron bar until you collapse on the ground. He starts to rifle through your clothing, grabbing any object that he discovers. Yeah, it's a trap.
Shut up. I'm busy here and I hate to talk while I work.
The street rat is definitely talented in this field. In seconds, he has stripped you of all your possessions. Well, you may have taken my possessions, but you haven't taken my magic. Have fun with my stuff when you're stuck underneath the net. While the young thief paws through your valuables, you take the opportunity to hang the swap spell in the air and grab onto his searching hand. His eyes grow wide as the spell takes hold. With an implosion of air, you and the street rat switch positions. He crouches on the ground, trapped inside of the heavy net, while you stand above him. The street rat looks up at you in amazement, surprisingly unafraid, but a little desperate.
You're a wizard! A wizard hasn't been seen in Skirvash since far before I was born. Why are you here?
I'm looking for something.
Well, if you're looking for something, you'll need a guide. I can help. I know all of the dark and secret corners of Skirvash. If you're new to this town, you'll get nowhere without me. Let me go, and I'll help you.
Why should I let you go? You pounded me with an iron pry bar. More likely I should just kill you and be done with it.
If you wanted me dead, I'd be dead already. A wizard doesn't waste time. I think you need me. My offer stands. Release me and I'll help you.
Well, it's against my better judgment, but... You lift the net off of the child. Some hidden pulleys draw it up high into the shadows of the alley. True to his word, the street rat doesn't run off. Instead, he produces everything he stole from you. Then, shuffling down the alley, he flips aside a greasy blanket to reveal a hole in the wall. He enters and motions to you to do the same. This hole. This dirty chamber isn't much bigger than a crawl space. It's crowded with the street rat's possessions. The doll is carved from wood. It is vaguely human. It has 2 legs, 2 arms, and a head, but lacks any specific features. A rune structure has been carved on its back. You assume that it is this spell that keeps it moving. And I've just learned a spell to make the doll move. I'll just be taking that pry bar, have payment for getting beat around the head with it. You snatch the iron bar from the ground. It's no stranger, as the street rat formally introduced it to your face back in the alley. When the boy sees that you've taken it, he starts to say something, but stops and looks very embarrassed. Yeah, that's right. Not a peep from you, or I'm going to magic the shit out of you.
I'm willing to help you. But first I want to know what the job is, and what's in it for me.
What do you want?
I thought I'd have to talk you into it. Simply, I want a cut of the job. If you're going after what I think you are, there should be enough to go around.
What do you think this job is?
It seems to me that there's only one target worth the attention of a wizard. You're intending to break into the Tower of the Brotherhood. You must know that no one has ever made it into the tower and back out alive. You might not know how many have tried.
Kid catches on quick.
Rumors of the Brotherhood's treasure have spread throughout the realms. Thieves, from third-rate pickpockets to practiced artists, have attempted to steal it. Usually, the less talented ones are turned away at the front of the tower. There is no obvious way to get in. Only the members of the Brotherhood know how to enter. Some make it inside. Every few months, a new body is found in the town square, the result of another robbery attempt. Usually, the Brotherhood takes care of its own disposal. But these bodies are left as messages to every other would-be thief. In short, no one has ever succeeded. If this is your plan, you're going to need my help. Even a small cut of the tower's famed treasure would set me up for life.
Yeah. This is starting to sound better and better.
What can you do for me that makes you worth all of this?
I have contacts and information about the Brotherhood that all of the previous thieves lacked. If I was helping them, they might have succeeded.
If you're so good, why don't you try and loot the tower?
I'm not that good. I think you have a chance because you're a wizard. I figure your magic might give you an edge over the others.
All right, I'll give you what you want. What can you tell me about this town? How can you help?
What do you need to know?
What is the Brotherhood? What does it do?
You must know about the Brotherhood. At least you must have heard about them. The Brotherhood is a guild, much like craftsmen or merchant guilds, only it is a fellowship of skilled assassins. Whenever you want someone dead, for sure, take out a contract with the Brotherhood. Their information network reaches into all the nations, human and elven. In fact, the Brotherhood is the only guild that employs all races without prejudice, even in times of war.
Equal opportunity backstabbers.
How do you get inside the tower?
I don't know the method that the members use to get into the tower. I've examined the exterior, and I haven't found any entrance. But I've thought about this. Only the members of the Brotherhood can get in, so the answer is to become a member of the Brotherhood. You're new. Nobody knows you. You might be able to pull off something like this. As it happens, an assassin, a member of the Brotherhood, hangs out at the Devil's Workshop. His name is Hugh the Hand, and he's actively recruiting. It's not easy to catch his eye, and harder to have him sponsor you.
How do I get this Hugh the Hand to sponsor me?
Hugh is looking for only the most talented thieves and murderers. You'll have to do something extravagant to catch his eye. What that may be, I don't know. Perhaps if you stole something rare or valuable.
What exactly is the Devil's Workshop?
It's a tavern in the center of town. Low-life scum throughout Skirvash collect there to meet contacts, do business, and get drunk. In fact, the workshop's bartender is the most successful fence in town. The fastest and cleanest way to unload stolen merchandise is by selling it to him.
This is starting to sound like playing Quest for Glory as the thief.
Who are your contacts? What do they have to offer?
I know someone who was once a member and knows the entire layout. Undoubtedly, he'll be able to give me some vital information. I also know a talented craftsman who can forge any specialized tools that you may need. Unfortunately, both of those people are going to ask for a lot of money. Unless you've got a stash that I couldn't find, you're going to have to come up with some.
All right, that's all I need. I'm ready to go.
Very well. In order to help you any more, I'm going to need some upfront money. If you get some, bring it here, and I'll get to work on getting the information and tools that you'll need once you're inside the tower. Good luck!
Alright. Well, I suppose we'll save the actual thievery for next time, since we've been going on for a while once again. So, hope you enjoyed this second part of the Deathgate playthrough. I'm Amayirot Akago, and we'll be seeing each other out there somewhere. Goodbye for now.